And it's focused on improving parks, improving access to parks, and really getting people involved in their environmental infrastructure. Some of the parks that are in our area are Jersey Creek Trail, and then Parkwood Park, and then obviously John Garland Park as well. So we felt that it was a good first step to just let people know that there are projects happening around these parks in their area, and that might get them engaged. But then also to provide them with a way to provide comments about how they use that park, if they use the park, how often they use the park, as well as other things, such as like you were talking about, streetlights being out behind your building, or a lot of us have streetlights out behind in the alleys behind our houses, or packs of roaming wild dogs that no one seems to come and catch, or, you know, a slew of different issues, which people may have tried to get rectified, but have been having trouble getting in contact with the right people, or maybe even getting their phone calls returned. So, I say all that to say that on the front of the sheet gives some of the goals of the Hello Neighbor campaign, but we have been talking to several different neighborhood associations. Parkwood Park has signed on. We've also been speaking with Douglas Sumner as well as Fowler Park, and I'm here today to see if this is something that your neighborhood group may be interested in participating in, to reach out to the people in your neighborhood and make it as individualized to your needs as possible. One of the things I want to pass out around now is a letter that recently went out through Parks and Rec to users of the Parkwood Park shelters. This was a letter to engage people about how they used Parkwood Park in the past, what they liked about the park, and also to let them know that there's a survey that's going to be available online, as well as the creation of the Kansas, Kansas Community Line. That is a phone number where anybody can call and leave a voice message. It's actually hooked into a Google voicemail system, and they can leave a message, anonymous or not, about what concerns they have, successes, or just to, you know, say something for 2 minutes on voicemail if they want, whatever they want to leave any type of question, comment, or anything. And that is a way of creating a communication pipeline between us and the residents, where they don't feel like they're being aggressively sought after for their opinions, because we all know that our community feels like they've kind of been surveyed enough. But they can, in their own way, communicate with us through a telephone number, so they don't have to feel the burden of trying to get into email, or if they're not, you know, up to speed on how to use a computer, they can still pick up the phone and dial a number. And they can also email us as well at the kckcommunityline@gmail.com. So that's what I'm here to speak with you about, and just get any questions or concerns you may have, your thoughts and ideas about the campaign, and see if it's something that Douglas Hill Roots may want to participate in.
This last letter here about Parkwood Park, it's not really a whole far distance from us, but would we, for example, be participating?
So the letter for Parkwood Park is just an example of something that we did specific around Parkwood Neighborhood Association and to the users of that particular park.
Okay.
But in it, it has the 4 questions that we were asking and 4 questions that we'll be asking about every park, as well as information to provide feedback to the KCK Community Line. So really, it's just more of an example of something that we've done already with the Neighborhood Association, and could do with this neighborhood association if you wanted, or something similar to that, or something completely different.
So you're saying that we, if we wanted to do something in the area here, we kind of develop a letter, so to speak, or some information we want to gather here?
So if you flip back to the back side of that door knocker sheet, as you see the front, this is actually the, I'm going to take yours real quick. This is the front and this is the back of the door hanger. So the front would have information about the parks, and then the back would have a specific space left blank for your specific neighborhood association. So it'd say Douglas Hill Roots, the days of the neighborhood association meetings, any particular items that you wanted your neighborhood residents to know about. That would be where you would personalize your message. And then the great thing is that we would then help with volunteer recruitment and getting this out and just putting one on each door. We're not actually going to be knocking on doors, because that can be aggressive and also somewhat dangerous. We're just going to leave the information on the doors and allow He's with baseball now, the Depot Park area.
Oh, Fox,
Sure.
what's going on with that?
Well,
That's close to us.
yes, and that's part of the Jersey Creek Trail.
Yeah.
And so actually, HMA has constructed a walking group that started last year in the fall of 2015. And we've been walking every Saturday, obviously not through the winter, so we just started again on February 27th, we had our kickoff event. And we walk every Saturday, starting from the Heathwood Baseball Diamond, and use the Jersey Creek Trail as our walking route. And we provide walking journals and pedometers to anyone who wants to come. I actually have some more flyers for that, but I left those in the car, but I can bring them in real quick as well. So, and I just saw some public works people cleaning up the park, and there were some people, looks like some minor league, some high school teams using that baseball diamond last Saturday as well.
This kind of corresponds with what we're doing in our neighborhood. I've explained to you, we have a questionnaire that we
Yes.
made out, and we started door to door yesterday, and we had a real great response. People answered the questions, we got some volunteers
That's
for our
great.
garden, and I understand that you work with Monica Mendez also, she's on.
Monica and I are in a lot of groups together. So Monica is in an interesting position. She's housed out of El Centro. She works for the KB work group Latino Health for All, and she is their community mobilizer. And so I was actually in a meeting with Monica. We were meeting in the Jersey Creek Trail renovation project, and we'd already spoken previously about Hello Neighbor, and that's when she informed me that she was doing some work with you guys as well around engaging the Latino community. And so I was like, well, that seems like a pretty natural synergy there, so.
Anybody have any questions for her?
Just a suggestion, Rachel, well, certainly we appreciate what HMA is doing. And for the members who don't know what HMA is, we need to do everything we can to make this organization.
Can't hear you down here.
We need to, my ears are plugged up, so I can't tell how loud I'm talking. So, but we need to first let me say that Rachel does an excellent job with HNMA. The organization is just now beginning to get on foot, and there's a lot of work involved. So all neighborhood groups in the area needs to really support HNMA. It's a real tireless job. Rachel, since we are engaged now, we've got involved in surveys and stuff in our neighborhood. Let us make a suggestion, because let the executive committee talk about this to see where we are now, because we got such a good start yesterday. We don't want to do anything that would take away from that. I mean, personally, I'm certainly interested, and we can certainly find something, but let the executive committee, if that's okay, talk about it.
Yes.
And we'll probably have to call you to get some more questions. And if we, say after we get through doing what we're doing, if we had some things that would require people passing out stuff where, not like we have to do surveys, do you have people who can do that?
Well, that's part of what we are offering as assistance, is to go to those larger organizations like Bridging the Gap, United Way, and bring in large groups of volunteers to help mobilize throughout the area.
Okay. Well, say is there any way, do you have any grants or anything? Say if we got to where we're gonna do some things, some of the young people in our neighborhood, could they be paid a stipend to pass out some of those?
That's a great idea, something that I wasn't gonna announce today because I don't have it nailed down yet, but what I'd like to do is start something called Advocacy Days, where we're working with our Learn to Earn youth, which I'll go ahead and quickly explain. HMA has a Learn to Earn program. It was a program started by the Parkwood Colony Neighborhood Association, was passed over to us 3 years ago. It's an 8-week summer program where we take 20 kids and we work with them half days, 4 days a week. We spend an hour of class time with them in the morning, going through things like mock job interviews, filling out a job application, career visioning, community visioning. We expose them to different professionals and career paths. We had Senator Davey Haley come and speak to them, and Judge Dupree come and speak to the kids as also, the Public Works Department. And so they receive all this experience and knowledge, and then they get placed in a local business. Printing, NSVLD, Ricky's Pet Barbecue for 8 weeks, and at the end of that time, they graduate and receive a stipend of $300 for their time spent. One of the things we're working on is expanding that into a year-long program where we're really focusing on money management and financial literacy with the children. And to that end, we are gonna be partnering with Angela Haldeshell out of Wichita State University on the stock market game, which I'm not sure if you're very familiar with. It's something that's usually ran out of schools, but they've created an after-school program where children can actually participate in a mock stock market. So they actually get a sum of money that they then have to learn how to trade, and you have to admit, my stock market knowledge is not very high as either. But the system is set up to coincide with what's actually happening on the market. So they're actually making real-time trades, even though the money is not real. And then they learn about everything about money management, how the stock market works, savings accounts, corporations, kind of the whole gambit. And then at the end of that program, we would want them to receive a stipend also. As one of the things that I was thinking of as far as the advocacy component with that was to bring Learn Turn kids in and do advocacy days in the different neighborhoods where they could go around, pass out information specific to that neighborhood. The great thing about that then would be that churches or neighborhood groups could sponsor an advocacy day. So the kids could get paid, say there was a local church that felt like they wanted to connect back to the community a little bit more, but maybe didn't necessarily want to be the boots on the ground, then they could, I don't know, $250 to $500 sponsor an advocacy day in their area and get their message out to those neighbors in a specific geographic area. So that's something that's coming down the pipeline, that's gonna come out of this Hello Neighbor campaign. But right now, we're just looking for neighborhood associations to sign on.
Is this the number for you guys right there?
That is actually the number to the Kansas community line. I can give you my personal cell phone number, which is absolutely the best way to reach me. And that is 913-206-0047. But you can also feel free to call that Kansas community line as well.